Most content engine advice is just hustle content with better packaging. Post 5 times a day, cross-post everywhere, repurpose, stack, grind. Most of it doesn't sell anything because most of it isn't trying to. It's trying to feel productive. You can spend 6 months running that version of a content engine and end up with 300 posts, a tired body, and not a single buyer who can name what you actually do. The output is real. The work is real. The selling didn't happen because the engine wasn't built to sell. It was built to keep moving. This isn't that. This is the engine that takes one piece of thinking and turns it into 4 pieces of content that all do different jobs in your funnel. Long-form post, short-form post, email, reel script, 1 brief in, 4 assets out, same week. If you've been making things one at a time, this is the shift. By this point in the arc, you've found what you can sell. You've shaped it into an offer, and you've written the line that makes a buyer choose you. The next problem is the obvious one. Nobody knows you exist yet. Content is how they find you. But content for content's sake is a tax. Content that pulls toward the offer is an engine. The hustle version of a content engine looks like this. Post daily, different topic every time, different angle, different audience. Some land, most don't. You burn out in 3 months and the offer never gets sold because the content was never about the offer. The engine you actually want has one input, your offer. Everything in the engine points back to it. Here's the brief that runs the engine. Paste this into Claude with your offer details and one core idea you want to teach this week. I have a 1-week content sprint to run. My offer is offer. The buyer is buyer. This week, I want to teach one idea. Generate 4 assets from this single idea. 1 long-form post for LinkedIn or a blog. 800 words, voice-led, no listicle structure. 1 short-form post under 150 words, suitable for a Twitter or LinkedIn post. 1 email to my list, 250 words, with a soft mention of the offer at the end. 1 reel or short script, 90 seconds, hook in the first 3 seconds, single takeaway. Use the same core argument across all 4, but rewrite for the format and platform expectations of each. Do not pad. Do not repeat sentences across assets. That's the engine. Save it. You'll run it every week. 3 reasons this beats the hustle version. 1 input means 1 piece of real thinking, not 4. The work is in the idea. The format conversion is the cheap part. Most people invert this and end up doing 4 pieces of shallow thinking instead of 1 piece of deep thinking. Then they wonder why nothing lands. The 4 formats hit 4 different intent levels. Long form for searchers, short form for scrollers, email for people already warm, reel for cold reach. Same idea, different doors into your world. Most operators only own 1 door. The engine gives you 4 for the same input cost. And every asset points at the same offer. By week 6, the buyer has heard the same argument from you 4 ways. That's not repetition, that's saturation. The buyer who needs to hear something 5 times before acting has now heard it from you 5 times before they ever messaged you. Take the offer from earlier in the arc. Contract clarity. 2-hour service for small business owners who are sitting on contracts they don't fully understand. Core idea this week. Most contract risk isn't in what's written, it's in what isn't. Run the prompt. Claude returns 4 assets. The long form is a story about a real clause that should have been there and wasn't, walked through with the specific consequence the business owner faced. The short form is the sentence that makes someone forward it to their business partner. The email is the soft hand on the shoulder, 3 short paragraphs ending with the offer mention. The reel is the hook, 90 seconds, 1 takeaway, caption ending at the offer. You wrote 1 idea, maybe an hour of real thinking. The engine produced the week. 4 assets, 4 formats, 4 different doors into the same world. None of them feel forced. None of them feel like the others. All of them point home. The work is upstream. The idea has to be real. If you put a thin idea into the engine, you get 4 thin assets. The engine is not a substitute for thinking. It's a multiplier on thinking. So spend the time on the idea. Run the engine on the back of it. The hour you spend on the idea is the hour that decides whether the week's work compounds or evaporates. Most people skip the idea hour and run the engine cold. The output is technically content. None of it is doing any work because there was no real argument to amplify. Spend the hour. The engine does the rest. A content engine is a repeatable workflow that takes one core idea and produces multiple format-specific assets, each pointing back at a single offer. Repeatable, pointing back, single offer. 3 words doing all the work. 3 things have to be true before you run this. You need a clear offer. Without it, the engine has nothing to point at. That's paid 0.02. You need a positioning line. Without it, the assets sound like everyone else. That's paid 0.03. You need 1 real idea per week, not 5. 1. Drawn from your actual work or your actual reading or an actual conversation you had with a real person. The engine's job is to amplify, not to invent. This isn't a posting schedule. It's a sprint protocol. You run the engine when you have something to say, not because it's Tuesday. It isn't repurposing software. The 4 assets aren't the same words rewritten. They're 4 arguments, same root, different shape. It isn't a substitute for showing up. Posting is still posting. The engine just makes sure when you do, the post is doing work. Most people post a lot and sell nothing. The fix isn't more posting. It's posting that points. Week 1, you run the engine and 4 assets go out. Week 2, 4 more. By week 6, you have 24 assets, all arguing different angles of the same offer. By week 16, you have 60 plus, and the buyer keeps seeing the same person making the same argument from 100 different doors. By month 6, you stop chasing audience. The audience starts arriving on its own because someone they trust shared one of your posts, and the shared post pointed at 3 more, and the 3 more pointed at the offer. The compounding stops being theoretical. It shows up in your inbox. That's not luck. That's the engine. The skeleton. Save this. 1 offer, 1 buyer, 1 idea this week. Long form, short form, email, reel. Each one ends pointing at the offer. Run again next week with a new idea. That's the whole engine on a postcard. 4 of 8 in the paid arc. Audit, offer, positioning, content engine. Next, the client or customer, where the engine starts to actually do its job, where the content stops being broadcast and starts being the thing that brings the right person to the door. That's the episode. See you in the next one.